Chapter Protection Against Infection in Epidemic Diseases, page number 208.
I can recommend this from my own experience, but I am far from insisting upon the performance of this innocuous and powerful precaution by those who are of a different opinion. My reasons would be satisfactory if I could adduce them in this place. But as it is not enough to protect ourselves from infection, but also necessary not to allow others to come in the way of danger through us, those who have been engaged about such patients should certainly not approach others too nearly until they have changed the clothes they had on when beside the patients for others, and the former should be hung up in an airy place where no one should go near them until until we again need them to visit our patients. Next to the sick room, infection takes place most easily by means of such clothes, although the person who visits the patient may not have undergone any infection. A highly respectable and orderly individual who for years had never walked anywhere but only to his office at the fixed hours, had a female attendant with whom he was on very friendly terms, an old good-natured person who without his knowledge employed all her leisure hours in making herself useful to a poor family living about 100 yards from his house, who were lying sick of a putrid fever, the prominent character of which was a malignant typhoid fever. For a fortnight all went on well, but about this time the gentleman received some intelligence of a very annoying and depressing character, and in a few days, although to my certain knowledge he had been no one affected with such a disease, he got in all probability from the clothes of his attendant, who was often very close to him, exactly the same kind of malignant fever, only much more malignant. I visited him as a friend with unreserved sympathy as I ought, and I fell sick of the same fever, although I had been already very much accustomed to infection. This case, together with many other similar ones, taught me that clothes carry far and wide the contagious matter of such fevers, and that depressing mental emotions render persons susceptible to the miasm, even such as are already used to its influence. It would appear that the lawyer who draws up a will, the notary and the witness would, on account of not being habituated to such impressions, run much greater risk of being infected in these cases. I do not deny it, but for them there are modes of escape which are not so accessible to the other persons of whom we have spoken. Where there is nothing, the sovereign had lost his rights, there is no will to be made. But when wealthy persons wish to make their last will and testament on their sick bed, there are two circumstances in favor of the lawyer and his assistant. As in the formalities of a legal testament, the patient's bed often cannot remain in its usual situation, and as moreover, it is essential for such a testament that the testator should be in full possession of his intellectual faculties. It follows that for those patients who are not absolutely poor, another room and another bed may be got ready, thoroughly aired and free from infectious atmosphere. అలాంటి రూమ్లోకి పేషెంట్ని షిఫ్ట్ చేసి అక్కడ రాయమన్నాడు. ఈ లాయర్ని వాళ్ళ అసిస్టెంట్ని బిల్ రాసేస్తారు. ఏం లాయర్ గారు జాగ్రత్త. అవును మరి ఎప్పుడైనా రాస్తామో బిల్లు నువ్వు వెళ్ళని. They do not need to remove thither until all this has been properly performed a short time before. The weakness of the intellect in such persons generally keeps pace with their corporeal weakness, and a patient who possesses sufficient strength of intellect to make his will would not allege that he is too weak to be removed to another bed and room. How little chance there is of the legal officials catching the infection under these circumstances, provided they take moderate care not to approach the patient nearer than necessary, I need not dwell upon.
I should mention that after one has once accustomed himself to any particular kind of miasm, for example, the bloody flux, the nerves remain for a considerable time, often for years, to some degree insensible to the same kind of disease, even though during all that time we may have had no opportunity of seeing patients affected with that disease, and thus, as it were, of keeping the nerves actively engaged and keeping up this state of specific unsusceptibility. It gradually goes off, but more slowly than one would suppose. Hence, with moderate precaution, a nurse, a physician, or a clergyman may attend dysenteric patients this year if they have had to do with similar patients several years previously. But the safest plan is to employ, even in this case, a little blameless precaution. A little blameless precaution. ఒక్కోసారి వాళ్ళ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్లో వాళ్ళ దీన్ని బట్టి వాళ్ళు ససెప్టబిలిటీ అనేటువంటి దాంట్లో చాలా కాలం నుంచి ఆ పర్టికులర్ డిసీజ్ వాడిలో కలిగించినటువంటి నర్వస్ సిస్టంలో వాళ్ళలో వచ్చిన ససెప్టబిలిటీ అనేటువంటి దాని ప్రకారం వాళ్ళు దానికి ఎఫెక్ట్ కాకపోవచ్చు. కానీ ఇన్ డ్యూ కోర్స్ ఆఫ్ టైము దాని స్ట్రెంగ్త్ని బట్టి, తర్వాత వీళ్ళ తాలూకు ఏజ్ని బట్టి, వీళ్ళు చదువుతున్నట్టు దాన్ని బట్టి ఇదివరకు ఎఫెక్ట్ కాకపోయినా ఈ సంవత్సరం అయినా వాడు ఎఫెక్ట్ అయితే అవ్వచ్చు. అంచేత వాడు ఎప్పుడు కూడా ఆ తీసుకునే ప్రికాషన్స్ ఎప్పుడు తీసుకోవాలంటున్నాడు. కానీ అది వస్తుందేమో అని భయపడక్కర్లే. అది ఈయనే చెప్పాడు. ఎందుకు ఇప్పుడు కలరా వచ్చింది, లేదా ఏదో ఇన్ఫెక్షియస్ డిసీజ్ వచ్చింది, అది అంటువ్యాధి అంటే అందరికీ రావాలిగా, అక్కడ ఉన్న ఏరియాలో ఉన్న వాళ్ళు అందరికీ రావాలి, రాదు, కొందరికే వస్తుంది. అలాగే వాళ్ళకి సర్వీస్ చేసినటువంటి వాళ్ళకి కూడా అందరికీ అంటుకోదు, కొందరికీ అంటుకుంటుంది. గజ్జిపొక్కులు వచ్చిన వాడికి వాడు సర్వీస్ చేసినా, లెపర్సీ వచ్చిన వాడికి వాడు సర్వీస్ చేసిన వాళ్ళందరికీ అంటుకోదు. ఎవడికి తొందరగా అంటుకుంటుంది. చాలా ఈజీగా మనం ఇమీడియట్గా చూడాలంటే ఇప్పుడున్న వరల్డ్లో అవన్నీ పోనీ లాంగ్ డిసీజ్, ఇప్పుడున్న వరల్డ్లో ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్తా. ఇమీడియట్గా చూడాలంటే ఐ ఇన్ఫెక్షన్స్ సీజన్లో చూడండి. కంజంక్టివైటిస్ వచ్చినటువంటి వాళ్ళలో ఎంతమంది కళ్ళల్లోకైనా చూసి మీరు ట్రీట్మెంట్ ఇవ్వండి, ఏమీ రాదు. ఎవడి కళ్ళలోకైనా చూడగానే భయం వేసి నాకు వస్తుందేమో అని భయపడ్డా వెంటనే వస్తుంది. కాస్త ఈ ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్ చేసి చూడవచ్చు. ఆ భయం ఆ ఐడియా రాకముందు ఎన్ని వందల కేసులు ట్రీట్ చేస్తే రాదు. నార్మల్గా ఏమంటారు, వస్తున్న కంజంక్టివైటిస్ వాడి కళ్ళలోకి చూడకండి చూస్తే వస్తుందంటారు. But as the superstitious amulets and charms of our ancestors' times did harm, as much as full credit was given to their medical virtues, and better remedies were consequently neglected, so far like reasons and fumigations of the sick room with the vapor of vinegar, juniper berries, and the like is inadvisable, although the majority of my colleagues highly recommend it and assert that the most infectious miasms of all kinds have thereby been overpowered and driven away, and thus the air purified. Being convinced of the contrary, I must directly contradict them and rather draw upon myself their disfavor than neglect an opportunity of rendering a service to my fellow creatures. But as the spoiled, logisticated, foul, fixed, etc., air can never be restored to purity or turned into vital air by means of these fumes, or as there is not a shadow of a proof that the subtle contagious exhalations whose essential nature is quite unknown to us and not perceptible to our senses can be weakened, neutralized, or in any other manner rendered innocuous by these fumes. It would be foolish, I would almost say unjustifiable, by recommending such fumigations of the supposed purification of the air, to encourage ordinary people in their indolence and indisposition to renew the air of their apartments, and thereby expose every indifferent person who comes and thereby expose every indifferent person who comes in contact with them to a danger to his life, which will be all the more obvious and great, the more confident he has been made by the futile representation that, without driving away the disease-spreading miasm by means of repeated draughts of air, the pestilential atmosphere of the sick room has been converted into pure healthy air by means of simple fumigations with vinegar and juniper berries. This is just like the old superstition of hanging an eagle stone at the hip of the woman in labor at the very moment when all hopes of saving her, even by the forceps, are over. When a physician or clergyman enters an unfumigated chamber, he can at once tell by his sense of smell whether his needful order to air the room has been obeyed or not. All sick people make a disagreeable smell about them. Therefore, the freedom from smell a chamber is the best proof that it has previously been aired. But if fumigations have been had recourse to, the latter becomes doubtful and suspicious. Neither the physician nor the clergyman, neither the sick nurse nor the patient require perfumes when they have to think and speak seriously concerning a matter of life and death. They should never be used. కాబట్టి ఎయిర్ మొత్తం రూమ్లో ఉన్నటువంటి ఎయిర్ అంతా కూడా ఫ్రీ చేసేస్తున్నాం, ఫ్రెష్ చేసేస్తున్నాం అని ఏవో ఈ వెనిగర్ తాలూకు ఇన్హలేషన్స్ అవన్నీ చేసి రూమ్లో స్ప్రే చేస్తున్నాం. ఇవన్నీ ఉపయోగం లేదు. అవన్నీ ఓన్లీ అసలు దాన్ని ఏం చేయాలో యాంటిడోట్ చేయాలో చేయడమే తప్ప